I'm totally in plant mode today, so I thought I would do a video of the plants I have in my living room right now. I'm hoping to add to this collection, but I just love my house plants. This one here, as you come into the living room, this is a Pothos Brazil, and it gives you the dusty leaves. It gives you the dark green and like a limey green. It's a beautiful plant. Each leaf is so different. It's such a pretty plant. Look at that. Such a pretty plant. That's new growth, and of course it's been a dark, dull winter, so the new growth, there's not a lot of the dark green in it, but it'll come as we get more sun. But just a lovely, lovely plant. And down here, this is a really big Sansevieria, or mother-in-law's tongue, snake plant, another name for it. Those are great plants for your home because they give off oxygen during the night instead of during the day, so they're a great plant to have in your bedroom. Don't require a lot of water, and really the only time you need to repot them is when they're busting out of their pot. Very easy plant. Over here, this is another Oxalis. This is my solid green one, and as you can see on the leaves here, the ends were getting scorched. That's because of our very dull winter. I had it closer to the window and didn't move it back in time. The sun scorched it. But as you can see from the new leaves that have come up, it's recovered. I just didn't move it back from the window soon enough. And it too has pretty little blooms. Isn't that lovely? Such a pretty plant. And trailing down here is just your normal Hartley Philodendron. Looks like a little heart. It's a big plant too, a big trailing plant. Lovely little beast. And here we have a curly spider. See how the leaves curl? Look at this. This is a curly spider. I'll show you a regular spider. I wanted one of these so badly, and I actually got two last year. And behind it is another Philodendron Brazil, and it's really thick. It likes it there. I can open the front door in the summer and the sun shines in. Just a beautiful plant. Now we will go to this window. This faces east. This is a little starter plant, Asparagus Fern. I purchased just this spring, and my dryer's done. And it wasn't even coming out of the pot when I got it. But look at that baby now. Sorry about the lighting, but isn't she a beauty? She's gonna thicken up nicely. Loves that window. And next to her is my big, well, not the biggest one, but this is my Hoya. I got slips off of George's plant and planted them, and this is the plant I got. Different stages of blooming on it, as you can see, and it trails way over there. It's a lovely plant. It needs to be watered. But the interesting part about these, see how it trailed down? Couldn't find anything to grab onto. It likes to hold on to something. So it turned around and went back up, wrapping around itself. So interesting. Love that plant. This big monster here in back is a ponytail palm. I've had it for a few years now, and it's really grown. I had looked back on some old pictures, and it was just a tiny little thing when I got it. I didn't realize how big it's gotten, but it's really grown. And here we have a little, what's this fella? This is just your regular arrowhead. Isn't that a pretty plant? Look at the veining. pretty little guy. Over here we have a Peperomia. Nice little fat leaves. Oh, could use some water, but that might be because it's an old leaf. And my prayer plant, I'm going to try this again. I had one before and killed it. I'm guilty as a lot of people is. I kill plants by too much love. I overwatered it. So I know now not to. So I'm hoping this thing will grow. It's just so beautiful. And these things will get big and bushy, and a lot of times they get really big and bushy, and then they kind of die off and people will throw them out. But it's just they went into dormancy. If you clip all the dead stuff off, it'll come back. Now we're going to my plant stand. Up on top here is George's Hoya. It takes up the whole top of the shelf. When he gave it to me, he figured that plant was about 25 years old. This is the plant I got my slips off of. And I'm so happy to have this plant. He got it from his mother-in-law. She gave it to him. Just a beauty, huge plant. And some little lights on there. Here I have pieces of my ZZ plant. I'm going to try and root it. I don't know if it'll work, but I think it will. I cut off some little slips. And here we have my Moses in a cradle. Isn't that a beauty? Gosh, those leaves. But this is the back of the leaf. Look how the color, how vibrant. And it shines through. My lovely little elephant that I got. Secondhand. This is another curly spider. This is my second one. And I'm hoping being in the sun is going to give me some babies. And I think this, where is it? This one here, it feels like it could be a baby coming out of there. Shoot, I'll show you. And this here is one of my Peperomia, Pilea Peperomia. It's kind of a biggie. It needs to be repotted. But it's a lovely plant, easy to grow. And you get babies coming up out of the soil, and that's where you get more and more and more. And in back here, these are slips of my Marble Queen pothos that I've just recently potted, so I'm hoping it'll take off. The second shelf, I'll get over here. Second shelf, this is what I think, I sprayed my plants this morning, the ones that need it. I think this is a coffee plant. It's doing well. I see new growth coming on it now since I've taken it home and repotted it. So I think it'll do fine. This, hard to believe, but these are babies to my big aloe that's in the porch. I repotted it. Actually in the same pot. I just gave it fresh soil and took out a bunch of babies. But I ran out of pots, so they are just in a jar of water till I can get some pots or find new homes for them. But these are just babies. Look at the size of them. Like, I'll put my hand around that. Look. That's not your regular type aloe. This big buddy here, which is touching the top of the plant stand. This is my Golem Jade, and he's doing wonderful. My initial Golem Jade was, it had bugs, and what I did was took some of these off and put them into, it's just dirt on there, put them into some soil and started some new ones and threw out the mother plant because I could not clear up the bugs. So this one I started from just a leaf, and look how thick that stem is. It's just amazing, beautiful. It's in the jade family. It's a type of jade. But look at this. Just an awesome looking little plant. And this little thing I purchased this spring. It is called a Wandering Jew. And pretty purple leaves, and then they turn green as they age. Pretty on the back too. I like the coloring. But it wasn't coming out of the pot when I purchased it. That's probably maybe a month ago, so it's growing well. It's adjusted. Here's my lovely string of pearls. Now when I purchased this, I noticed it had a couple of adult mealybugs on it, so I treated it for that. Gave it the second treatment this week. There was no nests on it at all, so I got it in time because they're buggers to get rid of. Love this plant, and it's finally creeping along to come out the pot, and it'll just trail down and look gorgeous. This plant soil is quite dry. The last one I had I killed with kindness. This one probably can be watered, say, once a month. It likes to be dry. And here's my jade, one of my jade trees. This one, again, I started from a leaf from my mother plant, which is in the porch. It's about 10 years old, and it too was started from a leaf. I'll show you that one another time, but it's huge. Here's another type of Peperomia. These are all starter plants. They weren't in greatest health, but I know I could nurse them back to life if they weren't too far gone. But look at the red around the edge of the leaves. It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. And we're getting new growth, so I know it's doing fine. This plant here is a Pothos Marble Queen. Now, Marble Queen is very light leaves, but this plant I had in a basket away from the window, and it grew great, but it lost the light, beautiful, speckled, marbling coloring because it wasn't getting the right sun. So I took a couple of slips off it, cut some back to see how it would grow, and here's one here. See, I cut it here, and look at the new growth that come on it, and look at the color. Just beautiful. It's coming back because it's in the sun. It's coming back in the coloring it's supposed to be, so I can trim off these and it'll thicken up, and this is what I'll get. Look at that leaf. Is that not gorgeous? And they all come out a little different. Look at that one. But that's what happens with the Marble Queen when it gets the sun it's supposed to get. What a beauty. So I'm going to trim that back and let it all grow nice. And I think there's more over here of it too. Yes, it's trailing over here. Just a beautiful plant. This shelf here houses just one of my spider plants. This is a variegated. And here again is some babies. It's hard to believe those are babies of my giant aloe that's in the porch. This is another type of Sansevieria. It's called bird nest Sansevieria because of the way it grows. There's a baby. I took off one of them to grow, and it's grown great. This is Haworthia. I got a slip from my niece a few years back. Zebra Haworthia, and this is the stem where the babies were growing, or the blooms came from. But it's a lovely little plant. Isn't that pretty? Another snake plant. This plant is a succulent I purchased from our local drugstore. They had a bunch of succulents, and I love the edging on these leaves, so I purchased it. It's gotten quite big since I've taken it home and repotted it. It's a lovely little succulent. This one too is one I purchased the same time from the same place. This part here was the original mama, and all these new babies have grown since I've taken it home. Isn't it a cute little thing? Oh, look at that. Wow. Such a pretty plant. That almost looks like, is it leaves or is it flowers? We'll see. Time will tell. And the bottom shelf. The bottom shelf, this is a regular aloe plant, as you can tell from my hands. One of my co-workers gave it to me because I didn't have a regular one. I just love it. And it'll grow fine there. This plant here is my red Siam, Chinese evergreen. And I have it down here, but I may have to move it because I not seeing much new growth on it. May not be getting quite enough light, but usually the Chinese evergreens will grow anywhere. Oh, and there's my, that's my Petrified Wood seashell. One of my painted stones. And this too is an arrowhead blush. Look at the coloring. Isn't she a beauty? And she should grow fine here. Not seeing any new growth yet, but if she doesn't, I can just move her someplace else. And this is another little plant. I don't know the name of it, but I took it off the mama plant in the window because it grew so big. And oh, I got one over here. Another snake plant. This one is called Moonshine, Sansevieria Moonshine. Very pretty snake plant. It's grown a lot as well. And we're not done yet. And over here is my big ZZ plant that anyone can grow. I have it tied up for this corner because if I let it spread out, it takes up the whole width. It would take up the whole width of this shelf because it really spread out on me. Very easy care plant. This is the one I took the slips off of. I'm trying to root them. We'll see. And up here is my mother plant of the variegated spider. And we will go over here. This sad little thing. It was a one slip spider, your regular solid green spider. So it's not very thick on top, but it's growing babies galore. This one needs to be taken off. A lot of times people will take the spider babies off and they'll cut this whole stem, but if you leave it, just take the don't mind that mess, I'm house cleaning. If they just take the baby and leave it, you will get new growth of more babies like this. See? Same thing happened over here. Look at this baby. I took the one off the bottom. And that is from spraying the plant all the time. It encourages that kind of growth. And, okay, here's my huge. Needs to be repotted, and that's the Pilea Peperomia. What a monster it is. This one here is my lemon lime Dracaena, and it needs repotting as well. And I think I have a pot for that. I do have a pot for this one. I just don't know if I can do it on my own. I may have to wait until Deb comes for a visit and repot that. But that's what I have here in the living room at the moment. Thanks for watching.